Up next, Soa is back at the desk, I understand, with the government's green light for an expansion of overseas flights, Soa.
Right, Sunny. Following the peak of the Omicron wave, the government expects more Korean citizens to fly abroad. And to meet those demands, authorities decided to let airliners increase their flight operations starting next month as part of its gradual shift in prevention guidelines. The plan is to first add 100 more flights per week in the next couple of months. Then, starting July, it'll be 300 additional flights a week. A stage-by-stage expansion will not only be applied to South Korea's main international airport in Incheon, but also at other airports with international routes like in Gimpo, Cheongju and Jeju Island. With that, the government hopes that by the end of this year, international flights will be at around half of the level the country enjoyed before the pandemic broke out. Individuals, however, will have to make some considerations before traveling.
For those looking to travel abroad, you need to find out what the entry requirements are at your country of destination and what protocols are in place in case you're infected when planning your trip.
Right, and so I suppose those people might also want to consider about the potential threat of new variants in other countries, right?
Right, Sunny. So the situation is really different depending on where you are and on which country you want to travel to. In some countries, the Omicron wave continues, and then currently the stealth Omicron variant or the BA2 variant is the dominant strain in many countries. Meanwhile, we also hear of the XE and XJ variants. Now, this one might be a little unfamiliar to many people. The XJ variant has been reported in Thailand this week. Now, following reports of the so-called XE variant, a recombinant of the BA1 and BA2 Omicron variants, another combination referred to as the XJ variant is being suspected, not confirmed yet, in a delivery worker in Thailand, according to health authorities there. It's based on a genome test from February. Now, XJ has a different genetic makeup from the XE variant that has been mentioned more frequently lately, for instance, in the UK. Now, the XJ was reportedly first detected in Finland, and there is little known about the transmissibility yet. Thailand is actually one of the locations to where flights from Korea are expected to rise, along with Singapore, the US, and European countries.
Right, and in the Chinese city of Shanghai, so I understand there's been a shift in containment strategy with regard to the separation of young Covid-19 patients from their legal guardians, right?
Right, Sunny. I briefly mentioned this issue at the beginning of the week. There was international outrage when images or footages went viral of babies being isolated from their parents at hospitals in Shanghai, even in cases where their parents were also infected with COVID-19. Now, the city has eased its policy on separating infected children from their parents, according to local reports. Some families who abide by strict prevention requirements are permitted to stay with their children at a temporary hospital. This also goes for parents who tested negative with an infected child who is 7 years old or younger. Shanghai, meanwhile, accounts for roughly 80% of infections in China. The country reported a record high of more than 20,000 cases for the first time on Wednesday, breaking its earlier record of around 16,000 just the day before.
Right, so let's include Yeon in our talk now.